Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'm from Back to Bach. And if you don't know what that is, it's a program that works to help introduce music and art to middle school and elementary students. And today I'm going to be presenting on Leonardo da Vinci and his artworks and a little bit about the time period that surrounded him. If you didn't know, he's a really influential artist who not just had really amazing artworks, but also really got into the science behind the specific artworks, and that's what made him so interesting. On today's agenda for this presentation is the time period surrounding Leonardo da Vinci, which was the Renaissance, his life, generally where he was born, where he lived, and all of that, and his works, including the Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, and others. And generally his impact, what kind of inventions and designs he created, and how those relate to modern day inventions. So, Leonardo da Vinci was part of the Renaissance era of art, and the Renaissance or rebirth was a period of music, art, just general learning that was really going back to the classics. It took place right after the Middle Ages and was heavily influenced by a lot of powerful Italian families like the Medici, who financed a lot of the work, really, really important work that was created at the time. While this was a really important time for art, it was also a really important time for philosophy and science, boasting some of the most influential people of all existence, including Galileo, Dante, and Machiavelli. Additionally, painters like Michelangelo and Raphael were also working this time. Leonardo da Vinci was born in 1452 in what was then the Republic of Florence, which is in Italy. And he was born to a very wealthy father and a more low-born mother. And since his parents weren't married at the time, he was considered an illegitimate child. And because of this, a lot of occupations were not open to him, even as the son of a very wealthy man. So he went into a trade of painter. He worked for a painter and helped do more basic tasks at a very young age. But as his skill progressed and as he showed well above the aptitude of his other peers, he was promoted and started working on more and more complicated projects and increasing his skill further. Some of his most famous works include the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. These paintings are particularly interesting, especially because of the interesting techniques he used, some successful, some not successful. The Last Supper, he was very upset about the specific style at the time. The Last Supper was painted as a fresco, and Leonardo da Vinci was unsatisfied at the techniques they had at the time. So because it was so fast drying and you had to work so quickly, and he wanted a method that he could progress more slowly on and really put detail into every little section. So he created his own mixture of paints that he thought would be better and he would be able to work more slowly. However, almost as soon as the painting was finished, it started coming off the wall because it was painted on a wall. It started flaking off the wall and has had to been restored several times and has still lost a lot of color because the just composition of the painting was not good. However, it really is very interesting and shows Leonardo da Vinci's drive to expand and create different mediums and just expand people's knowledge, and I think it was very interesting. And then the Mona Lisa, which is arguably one of the most famous paintings in the world, is loved so much, especially because of the sort of optical illusion of her looking in different directions. And that's actually because of specific painting techniques he used. Like if you look at the background of the painting, they're not specifically lined up, the background. And it's because of peripheral vision. And he used science and the way your eyes work to make it look sort of more interesting. He also used oil paint because that's the paint they traditionally used at the time. And he used hundreds upon hundreds of layers to create these really complex shadows and colors. And yeah, so I think those are pretty cool. And then Leonardo da Vinci was also very interested in science. He not didn't just see art as, you know, paintings and colors. He saw it as life. He had very interesting theories about trees and the mathematical of tree branches, which not a lot of people would think of. He also was fascinated with water and how it would flow around and how it would look going around objects. And he was fascinated with light. If you look at his sketchbooks, he has so many diagrams of how the eye views light and how light affects objects and perception. And he was also not just like a passive observer of anatomy. He didn't just look at it in books or look at it in figures. He went, and it's slightly disconcerting, but he looked at dead bodies and he did dissections. And he thought that you should really look at it from the bones up to see all the muscles and everything that went under the skin, because that would really affect how you drew and how realistic your things were. He was also not just like, it wasn't just for his artwork. He was very interested in the natural world. He looked into flying machines and other sort of machinery. And the interesting part about this is that some of his machines actually could have functioned if he had the same kind of fuel technology that we have now, which I think is very interesting. And he's personally one of my favorite artists, so I hope you look more into him if you get the chance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you listen to some more of our videos. Thank you.